authors, welcome back to Fiction Writing. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about plot. Go ahead and raise your hand for me if you've ever heard the word plot before. If you've been in my class, I know you've heard it, at least heard it, even if you don't know what it means. The plot has a very easy, simple definition to remember. It's all of the action that happens in the story. The plot is what is happening. The plot in most fiction stories is told like a roller coaster. We get some information at the beginning. Usually we're meeting the characters, we're finding out the setting, and then in the middle we're starting to be introduced to whatever the problem the character is having in the story. And by the end, the characters solve their problem, they find a solution. So most fiction stories are told beginning, middle, and end, and they have some action in them. The action is usually told as a problem and solution. Now, authors know that they flow their story on the roller coaster using words to help their audience kind of track when things are happening. Those words are called transition words, also temporal words. Some of those are first, later, next, finally, suddenly, after that, lastly, and at the end. Today and for the next couple of days, we are going to practice listening for plots in reading, and then tomorrow you're going to write a plot of your own. Today, the plot we are going to listen for is this one about this cute little wolf called Will. This story is called Will the Wolf. I'm going to read through the story, and when we're done, we're going to talk about how the author of this story was able to follow the roller coaster to give us some action, a clear problem, and solution as well. Here we go. Get your thinking caps on and think about what the problem and solution in the story is, as well as all the action that takes place. Will was fed up. All he wanted was to do things his way. Why did all the wolves have to do everything together anyway? They ate together, played together, slept together, and walked together everywhere, every day. It was exhausting. Who are the characters we've met so far? Will. We know that he is in a pack of wolves, and we know that wolves generally live in the forest, so I'm assuming that's where he is. Will was growing up. He could do things himself now, and he had some pretty good ideas too. But his mom wouldn't let him try his ideas by himself. Will didn't get it. One day, the pack was walking through the woods. Oh, there's the setting. The pack is in the wolves. We've also met Mom. So now we know the characters are Mom, Will, his pack. The setting is in the woods, and we're starting to see the problem. Will doesn't want to do everything with every member of his pack all the time. He's looking for some independence. Let's see what happens. One day the pack was walking through the woods. Will had an idea that there was food down a certain path, but the pack didn't want to go that way. Finally, Will said, "Why do we need a pack anyway? I am going down that path and I'll have plenty to eat. I don't need you guys." The pack did not approve. They said, "Will, you can try going off on your own, but we need to work together in our pack. Packs help us to survive." Will didn't believe them. He ran off on his own. He ran for miles. He started to get tired, and it was getting dark. Usually, the pack would all find a spot together to sleep, but Will had no pack now. He decided to find a cave. When he settled down to sleep, Will thought, "Sleeping would be much easier with my pack all around me. If something comes, I'd have them to protect me." And there's the cave that Will's sleeping in by himself. He barely slept that night. In the morning, he decided to go back. Will hoped he could find his pack again. He ran back to where they'd last been together. As he was running, he smelled a deer. Will thought, the pack would be impressed if I brought a deer for us all. So he decided to hunt on his own. Quietly, he crept through the woods. He tracked the deer into a clearing. Will looked around. Where was the deer? Suddenly, something charged out of the trees at him. It was the deer, and those antlers, they were sharp. If his pack were here, they would help him. But Will was alone. He ran from the deer as fast as he could. After a while, the deer stopped chasing him. Will rested. He started thinking how much easier this trip would have been with his pack by his side. He would have been able to sleep soundly. He would have been warmer with them all around him. He would have been able to take down the deer with his pack by his side. Now Will was just hungry and lonely. He realized his pack had been right. Packs do help them survive. Will knew that now and was determined to find his pack and work hard to help them as much as they help him. Okay, third graders, the author of this story problem was definitely able to use this roller coaster to help her story flow. She started, like we said, with the characters and the setting. It was in the woods. Will, Mom, and Pack were the characters. As it ramped up, we started to learn what the problem was. Will did not want to do everything with the pack. He wanted to be more independent. So, in order to be more independent, Will decided to go off on his own. Did that end well for him? No, because wolves need packs, just like kids need communities. He went off on his own and all kinds of bad things happened. He couldn't get any sleep because he was all alone and no one was there to protect him. He couldn't get food because it's hard to take down a deer if you're just one wolf. So as in the middle of the problem, in the middle of the story, Will's problem became clear. Now, how did the author wind down her story and solve the problem? She taught us a lesson, as she taught Will a lesson. The solution of the story is that Will learned for himself firsthand how important it was to be in the pack. So the ending of the story is one of those endings that we've talked about when we were talking about personal narrative that's so important, and that's learning a lesson. That's one way to end the story and to help the character solve the problem. As we left Will at the end of the story, he was on his way, hopefully, to find his pack again, having solved his problem and gotten his mind right. So I also saw in the story that the author used some of these transitional words, like suddenly, when the deer struck out at him and in the woods. When you are writing today, I want you to think about how you can also use your roller coaster. In the beginning of your story, make sure you introduce us to your characters. Make sure you give a setting. Remember, the setting is the time and the place the story takes place. By the middle of the story, you should be introducing us to a problem. And at the end of the story, you should have wrapped up a solution. So your options in writing today are to continue a story that you started last week, or you can start a new story. But whether it's a new story or an old story, two things have to be true. It has to be fiction, and you have to use this roller coaster to help you flow your story. The beginning is the characters and the setting. By the middle, we should have a problem, and by the end, we should be solving that problem for the characters. All right, third graders, thanks so much for doing some writing lesson with me today. I hope that you have fun writing. I'll see you soon. Take care.